As Steve discussed in the support challenge matrix about the high support and high challenge and how to be a liberating leader, I want to carry that on into the 5 circles of influence to look at what does it look like to be someone people want to follow versus someone that people have to follow. So a 100x leader is someone who's 100% healthy, who's multiplying, as you know. But what's interesting about leadership is most people don't think about it in the terms of how to be someone that people want to follow and what's the secret to being someone that people don't want to follow. There is a secret, and the secret really shows up in 2 words. Number 1 is being consistent, but the second one is being intentional. So put them together, consistently intentional. If you do that in anything, you can have a major influence and major impact in other people's lives. But if you think about it in terms of leadership, most people aren't consistent and they're not intentional. So they're inconsistent and they're accidental. That type of person produces all types of issues. So to be a 100x leader, meaning to be 100% healthy, means that you have to learn how to actually be consistent and intentional. And so what we want to do is we want to actually share with you the 5 circles of influence in light of the support challenge matrix and put those together. And if you overlay those, you'll find there's a lot of potential to grow. So the opportunity for you listening would be think of the idea of support and challenge, but think of it through the 5 circles of self is the first circle, which Steve talked about, then family, then team, then organization, and then community. If you are consistent and intentional in every circle, the chances of your influence and your reputation being sky high are really, really high, because people want to be around people that are healthy and people want to be around people who are intentional. And so most people just aren't aware of being intentional. What does intentional mean? Intentional means to do on purpose, to actually think about something and do it on purpose. For me, years ago, I started to really focus on being intentional as a dad in the family. So in the family circle, I began to really focus on my kids, and I realized that with my kids and my wife, that I was not very consistent. In fact, I would say that I was inconsistent in lots of areas, and I found myself that I could be a dominating person to one of my kids and a protector to another, and I could abdicate from another, all in one day. And so I basically went after being consistent and intentional with my family. And so being intentional with my family means I thought about them. I thought about their schooling. I thought about their education, their emotional intelligence. I thought about their their growth, their physical growth. So I started thinking about them more than I was thinking about me. And in the process, I gained their respect because they knew that I was fighting for their highest possible good. They knew that I wanted the best for them. So they would let me, and they still do. They're in college and in high school, and I have liberating conversations with them. They know that I'm for them. Am I perfect? No. Do I dominate at times? Absolutely. Do I abdicate? For sure. But they know, and they would probably sit here, I hope they would say this, that you're a liberating leader. I know that they've actually shared that. You bring enough support and enough challenge. But what I've learned is I've learned how to be calibrating high support and high challenge with each one of my kids based on their wiring, who they are. And I've been intentional about it, and they've responded because of it. Well, the same goes with teams. The problem with leadership in general is it's so blasted hard. It's just difficult. It's difficult to manage your own work, the work of others, client issues, hassles, deadlines that are missed, anything else that comes in. It's really, really difficult to manage because people are so messy. So if you think of that in the team construct, most leaders are leading accidentally. And the reason that they do is they just have had that mimicked to them. That's what they've seen their entire careers. They've had very few 100x leaders to be around. So they end up waking up going, yeah, maybe they're a 60% leader, maybe they're a 75, and maybe they're a negative, maybe they're a plus, but they're definitely not 100x. And the reason for that is because all they've experienced is accidental leadership. and that's what they do. So if you want to be a 100x leader, you have to get in the game. You have to switch and flip the switch that's on your back. I always say there's a dimmer switch on your back. There's an intentional switch, or it goes to accidental. Every day, you have to choose to move that switch all the way up. So if you move that dimmer switch up to intentional and you're consistent with it and people see that you're for them, you can do a lot with people. They'll let you mold them and shape them and help them grow, help them get to the next level. But you have to be willing to do it for yourself first. So Steve talked about liberating yourself. That's where it all starts. Then it moves to becoming intentional about my family, thinking about the dynamics and doing something about it. And then moving from there into your team, being intentional. And then your team leads to your organization. Some people might be really, really bought into the team dynamics, but not really bought into the organization as a whole. So there's some work to be done there. And then when you get to the community, you become intentional there. I'll never forget, I've been explaining this to people. We have been building a community, neighborhood actually. And in that really is us being intentional to build community. And it's called the Prairie. Well, the problem with it is that I have been working for the last 4 years on this project. So the current neighborhood that I'm living in, I'm not intentional. I'm completely accidental. So I'm not really adding a lot of value. In fact, I'm not necessarily subtracting from it, but I'd say I'm about a 70 plus in my community. But our new community, I'm really involved, and I'm probably a 90, 95x. So if you think about putting the 100x construct on the 5 circles, that's one way to look and go, I might be a 70 plus to myself. Maybe to my family, I'm a 60 negative. Maybe to a team, I'm a 70, whatever it is for you. I know for me, it always changes because it's like a snapshot. Where are you in every circle? Again, for me, if I were to be honest, I'm probably right now at 85 plus with myself. My family, I'm probably a 90x. With my team, I'm probably a 80 plus. I know there's some areas I can get better. With the organization, I think I'm probably a 90x. And then my community, right now, I'm at a 60 plus at best. Well, I'm being honest with you, but it's a snapshot to look at where my influence can grow. And so that's ultimately what we're trying to do, is help you become a 100x leader. And we're trying to give you the secret. And the secret is to be consistently intentional in understanding your influence and understanding your leadership. And when you do, all of a sudden, you'll start seeing where there's holes, where there's some gaps, and where you need to step it up to get to the next level. But you'll also recognize where you've been intentional, and you can see the progress. That's our goal for you. Our goal is to help you climb. We're being a Sherpa for you to get to the next level. So as we continue to go through the series, really do the homework, really do the hard yards. Go to the intentional influence quiz. Take it now if you want, or wait until you finish the series and see exactly where you are right now, and then come back to it from time to time to see that snapshot where you are at that point. Thanks.